Good afternoon. Welcome back to the Retired Guy's Garage. I'm your host. Sort of. Well, I like to think so anyway. What are we doing today? So, doing some maintenance on the Honda and going to upgrade the stereo. Yes, the vintage 2005 6-disc factory CD changer stereo is a little outdated and needs an update. So we are going to be adding a touchscreen. It's going to fit right into the original slot where the original radio went, and no modifications necessary. It will contain GPS, Bluetooth, etc., 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 navigation, all that good stuff. You know, all the stuff that we've come to know and love in the past 20 years. So anyway, that's what we're working on. I got the radio off Amazon. What else did I do? Change the oil. I've done that already. I've rotated the tires, checked the air pressure, all that good stuff. So just normal maintenance, and gotta get that stereo changed out. Not having hands-free. Georgia is hands-free state. Not having Bluetooth and being able to be hands-free is kind of a pain. And really about the only negative thing I've got to say about this car, because I absolutely love it. So, and it's been great to us, and I want to keep it for a while, so got to upgrade stereo so we can. Anyway, not that we get rid of it just for the stereo, but time to bring it up into 2026 instead of 2005. So, original radio sounded great, still works great, no issues at all, but just time for an upgrade. So, that's what we're going to be doing today. Not off to a good start. I took off the plate around the shifter earlier, a few minutes ago, and broke two of the tabs off, so this is not off to a good start. That happens. So we're going to try and be more careful while we're removing the rest of the dash. So looks like it's a pretty simple installation, and it looks like the new radio should plug right into the existing factory harness, because this is a vehicle specific radio. This radio is designed to fit 2003 to 2007 Honda Accord. So this should be fairly straightforward for the installation, but we'll find out shortly. Stick with me. Let's get started. So like I said, this is going to be the replacement unit. This is about the same size as the radio that's in there. You can get really crazy with these things. I mean, you can spend a lot of money on these things for replacement radios on these cars, and get much bigger screens with all kinds of fancy toys. I just didn't need all that. So I decided to go with something that resembled the factory radio very closely. Like I said, I got this on Amazon, and I want to say this was about, I don't know, $130-ish, somewhere thereabouts. So, of course, I'll drop a link below in the description so that y'all can find this exact radio if this is something you want to put in your 2003, 2007 Honda Accord for your vehicle. So I'll drop that link. Let's get started. So the nice part about this kit is this radio kit that I purchased for the vehicle for my Honda is the fact that it comes with this trim tool. It does make life easier. And the other thing I failed to mention was I'm going to lose XM radio when I take this out of here. So I ordered a brand new aftermarket XM radio, which is going to reside right down here in this pocket. I've just got to figure out the logistics for that to get that installed. But that'll be in a few minutes. So all I did was pop this in here. You really got to, and it's plastic, so the risk of damaging your dashboard is very minimal. I just kind of pushed it down in between the dash and this plastic panel, and then I used a screwdriver, got up underneath here, started popping it up. So just be careful. I've put a couple of nicks in the dash as it is, and I didn't want to do any more of that. So that's why I started using this tool. So this should, at this point, just pop right up on out of here. Let's hope that that's the truth. There we go. And just set that off to the side. There's no need to disconnect it. Okay, so looking at the new radio, it just snaps in along both sides and on the bottom, and then there's some Phillips head screws there that need to come out. So we'll go grab a screwdriver for that and get those out of there. So be right back. So 3 screws along the top here. I normally would have used my magnetic screwdriver, but I can't seem to find that right now. Naturally. So 3 screws right along the top. I'm just going to use the cup holder as my parts bin. And allegedly, this radio should pop out of here. And then all I'll need to do is just disconnect the electrical connections. There's some specific wiring I'm going to have to do on the new radio. I'm going to have to read through the directions. I know, scary, right? Read through the directions to find out what I have to, because there's specific wiring I have to plug into the back of that for the steering wheel controls to make sure that the steering wheel, I retain the steering wheel controls for the radio and that kind of stuff. So I'm going to have to read up on that and make sure I'm wiring it properly so I retain all my original controls. The other thing to remember is make sure you order the right radio when you're doing one of these. Not all Hondas have the dual zone control and all this fancy automatic stuff. Some of them are just a basic. So make sure you grab your order in the right radio for that, so that you can retain all your original controls on that as well. So let's see. This should just pop right out of here, hopefully. Maybe not. Well. Okay, that side seems to come out. Let's see if we can use our fancy tool. Well, that should have come out of there by now. Huh. Alright, well, looks like I'm going to have to fight with that some more and see why that's not coming out of there. Be right back. So just ignore the annoying beeping for a minute. Okay, so the part I missed was that you have to take the ashtray out. Not really an ashtray because it says right there, not an ashtray. And there are 2 Phillips head screws behind that. Of course, the reason you have to listen to that annoying beep is because I have to have the shifter out of park. Be able to remove this non-ashtray assembly. All right, let's see if that's going to come out of there. Yep, there we go. All right, now this non-ashtray assembly should lift out of here, which it does. You have to disconnect the cigarette lighter, which is actually just technically not a cigarette lighter, I guess, because it's not an ashtray. Well, that's all you're on there. There is a little button you got to push to get that off of there. All right, then there is 2 more screws that hold the cubby in, which actually works out well because I need to take this out anyway so that I can make the necessary modifications to this so that I can get the XM radio in here. All right, these screws, or something's going on with these screws, so I'm gonna have to figure that out. So let me bring it back when I've got this thing out. So basically, all you gotta do is get these 2 screws out, and once you get those 2 screws out, then this cubby will pull out of here, allegedly. Be right back. Got it. Those 2 little screws right here were being a bugger. I think they're kind of stripped, so they just wouldn't come out. And then once you get the cubby out, the ashtray out, excuse me, I know it's going to be hard to see for y'all, but way back here on the back side of the radio, there's 2 screws. Well, there's supposed to be 2 screws. However, on this car, for some reason, one of them seems to be among the missing. Interesting. Now, the radio should come out. Let's see what happens. Yeah, I guess when you get all the screws out, the radio does come out. All right, so basically now it's just a matter of disconnecting the wires off the back of the radio and then reading the directions. I know, scary stuff, reading the directions. And I did go ahead, I was thinking, oh man, if I disconnect the battery, I gotta fix all my radio. Never mind, changing the radio anyway, so didn't matter. So disconnected the battery so I didn't have to listen to that beeping noise, and then that way I can keep the shifter out of the way. So alrighty, so I gotta grab a pair of pliers. I gotta get this wiring harness out of this little plug here, out of this little bracket, so I can get this radio disconnected and get the wires unplugged and get the new unit in with the required plugs that will hopefully retain all of my original steering wheel controls and all that good stuff. So all right, let me get this thing out and bring it back when I start putting the new one in. We have updates. So the radio basically does not come with any instructions. You kind of just have to figure it out on your own, unfortunately. It is plug and play for the most part, but you do need to kind of figure out where things go. One of my biggest things I ran into was the fact that the antenna wire for the radio is all jumbled up in zip ties and stuff back, and is too short in its old form to plug into the radio. So you have to pull this antenna wire out of this harness. There's a little snap lock thing in a mount there that's got to come out as well, so that you can get this antenna wire to be able to reach the radio. So that was one of the problems I ran into. The other problem is, like I said, there's really no instructions. So they had this whole wire harness zip tied together, but this harness from here to here, you got to kind of figure that out. They don't tell you that's how that goes. And I'm going to have to redo it a little bit. I'm going to have to unplug it and fish it through a little bit better so that it sits better. So, but that's going to do it for tonight. We've had a tremendous cold front come through in Georgia. It was 19 degrees when I woke up this morning. So it's getting cold in the garage. I need to turn the heat on, and you won't be able to hear me with that heater blowing. So the weird thing is this plug no longer gets used, and I don't know why. I was able to, as you can see, I was able to obviously get the radio working. Let's see if I can answer a call. Clearly it's working, and I have the Bluetooth hooked up. So we're going to decline that. Let's see, radio.
About God and brimstone and fire and the smell of Sunday chicken after church. And I go back to
go ahead and turn that down so that I don't get shut down. So anyway, so that's going to do it for tonight. It's cold. I need to turn the heat on. I'm going to button this up a little bit, just a little bit. I have to put a hole in this thing somewhere so that I can run all my wires for the XM radio, because the XM radio, and I was even able to fix my little door that has never worked. The little clip thing fell off of it, so I snapped that back in, and now my little door is working, which is kind of cool. It's never worked since we've had the car. So XM radio is going to mount right in here. I'm going to put a hole in this somewhere. I'm not sure where yet. I don't know if I'm going to come in. Yeah, I can't. Well, I guess I could come in from the top in the back side here. That's out of the way of the door. So yeah. So we're probably going to put a hole right here to run all the wires from the back of the radio down to the XM, and also the USB connectors. There's 2 USB connectors on the radio that will need to be accessible for charging and that kind of stuff. So that'll be kind of nice to have a USB charging port in the car too. Along with the thing that's really cool about this is that with no additional apps or anything like that, it will actually I can actually look at a Google map off my phone on this radio, which is kind of cool. So anyway, that's going to do it for tonight. So stick around, and I'll see y'all in the morning. Good morning. Welcome back. All right, so off camera I've done a little bit. Realized late last night as I was finishing up that I was missing a few pieces. I had to run to Walmart this morning and grab a couple things. I needed a 12-volt outlet because the satellite radio requires a 12-volt outlet, which I didn't have, and I didn't want to take up the only one in the car with the satellite plug. So, and that's all going to sit behind the, down inside the console anyway, and you'll never see it. And the other thing I was missing was, I'm trying to get out of these lights, which is not exactly easy. There we go. That's sort of better, I think. There we go. The other thing I needed was a 3.5 millimeter jack to RCA adapter. Again, the satellite radio requires RCA jacks, or the radio itself requires RCA jacks, and the satellite radio runs on a 3.5 millimeter jack, so that didn't work out at all. So I had to get those two things. Went to the local Walmart and picked those right up this morning. So what I did, starting this morning, let me get you flipped around here. Put in the XM radio antenna. A lot of folks will put them over in the middle of the roof. I don't. It's just more wire to run that'll flop around and not necessary. Tucked it all in behind here, that molding, and then ran it down through the door jamb behind this weather strip, and in the dash behind the glove box, and into the center console. So, what else have I done this morning? I think that's about it for that. Let me pause you for just a second. All right, the mount for the satellite radio is double-sided tape. 3M double-sided tape comes in the kit. I did drill a hole up in the top to run the wires. The only other thing that's going to need to come through there is the 2 USB cables and the antenna cable for the satellite. So, yeah. So that'll take care of that, and that catches y'all up. So let me get you set back up inside the car, and we'll get to it. I know it's tough to see on camera, but here's all the, this is the antenna wire for the satellite, the XM that's going to have to go down through that hole in the top. 2 USBs that'll go down through that hole as well. So I'll have access to USB ports for charging, etc. And that's about it. Radio is temporarily in. It's not been bolted back in or anything like that yet. Not ready, quite ready for that yet. And this other wire is for the backup camera. And I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to save that for another time. So, so the next thing to do is here is the plug for the lighter, 12-volt outlet. I guess they don't call them lighters anymore. So, but that's a little wire for the 12-volt outlet. I'm going to cut that wrap back and tap into that for the 12-volt power outlet that will lay down in the center console for the power for this satellite. So, all right, let me get that done and bring it back in just a few minutes. I think we are ready to put the radio in for the last time. I have all the wiring run. I've hooked up the 2 in output leads from the XM into the back of the radio. The backup camera wire is hooked in, however it's just wrapped up down underneath there because I'm not going to use it right away. The 12-volt power outlet is down there. I'm going to hook the battery up real quick just to make sure that it works. Everything's working before I finalize this. And what else? Oh, you're going to have to take these clips, these little snap clips, spring clips, off the old radio and put them on these tabs so that they snap in here for a nice tight fit. So other than that, it was all pretty straightforward. All the wiring is run down into the, get this up out of the way. All the wiring is run down in through the top of the little cubby, and that's where the XM will sit. Right. That's where the XM will sit right there. So just got to put this back in, just test it and make sure everything works, and screw the radio in and start putting this all back together. Like I said, has a backup camera. It has backup camera capability, but I'm going to wait to do that for another day. It's getting later in the day, afternoon. We've got a birthday party to go to tonight. So I'm just going to finish this up for now and revisit that backup camera at a later date. Not something I absolutely have to have. So, but I did want to get the radio in and get this all finished up because this car's a mess and gives me shivers. Just kidding. So let me get this put back together. I'm going to test that 12-volt outlet, make sure it works, and I'll bring you back and show you the finished product. There it is, finished product. And you might be wondering, well, what happened to the XM radio you put in? Haha. So this is kind of cool. We never used that cubby hole for anything anyway, so thought that was a really nice place to kind of hide it out of the way, and voila, there it is. I've got the signal sent, but it's apparently can't pick up in the garage, so I'll have to put it outside so I can get the signal to get that activated. And I'm bleeding. Lovely. But that is going to wrap it up. So let me get you outside here, and came out nice. I'm happy with it. I like it, and not that expensive. Like I said, I think it was about $125. It's gone up a little bit, surprisingly. Since I purchased it, I think it's about $135 now or something like that for this radio. But I mean, this thing was literally plug and play. You just gotta look at all the plugs on the back of it and make sure you're plugging them in the right spots. But yeah, I'm happy with it. Came out nice. A much nicer radio than what was in there, for sure. So nothing wrong. I mean, you know, the 2005 technology, on the OEM radio was great, but it was time to upgrade and get some Bluetooth and, you know, all that good stuff. So nice upgrade. I'm happy with it. That is it. All right, let me get you outside here and we'll get this one finished up. It's going to wrap it up for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. I would say on a scale of 1 to 10 for difficulty on installing this, I would say probably a 5-ish. I mean, you got to have some basic knowledge to put this one in. So I don't know that I would recommend this project for a beginner. But if you've got some basic automotive knowledge, hand tools, I mean, you know, basically Phillips head screwdriver I think is all I needed for the whole job, and that special tool that came in the radio kit, the trim tool for popping off the dashboard pieces without damaging them, which ended up damaging the center console plate anyway, but I was able to super glue it, and man, I am really bleeding, holy cow. Super glue it, and it came out just fine. So but yeah, so basically, you know, just a couple of basic hand tools, and you know, just working your way through it, make sure you're plugging in everything that needs to be plugged in, make sure there's no empty holes, and I prepped for the backup camera, which I'm going to do at a later date. I'm not going to do that right now. I don't have time today, unfortunately. So that's a project for a later date, and you know what? I'll show you how to do that when the time comes. But as always, I do sure do appreciate you watching. Hope you enjoyed the video as much as I enjoyed making it for you. And of course, make sure you check out all of the other great videos, I hope are great videos, on the channel as well. So until the next time, please be safe, take care of yourselves, and be safe. Bye for now.